Hi everybody, this is Matt Ingram with a short tutorial on altering the structure of a shapefile, specifically selecting and deleting features. Basically our goals in this quick tutorial is, or our main goal in this tutorial is threefold. We want to be able to select a geometric feature, or maybe a set of several features in our shapefile. We want to be able to remove or delete that feature or those features, and then save or write the new revised shapefile with only the desired features. So we also want to be able to do this in more than one software environment, just in case one is not accessible or available to us. So we'll do this first in ArcGIS, specifically Arcmap, and then we'll do it again in Geoda. Let's get started. First in Arcmap. So here's Arcmap and our national homicide shapefile from our Baller et al. Replication. I've just loaded the basic shapefile in here. You could confirm what's in here by loading the by opening the attribute table. I won't do that right now. But let's say that we wanted to partition this full shapefile into two different shapefiles. We could partition this in many different ways. We could select an individual county and delete it, but let's say that we wanted to delete the two main regions, or rather say we wanted to partition the full shapefile into the two main regions that Baller et al. Are concerned about, the southern counties and the non-southern counties. So we want to create one shapefile that only has the southern counties in it, and then we want to create another shapefile that only has the non-southern or the northern and western counties in it. So one way to do this in Arcmap is to right-click on this and open the attribute table, as I was suggesting you could have done a little bit earlier. And then you'll see here is our south dummy variable. Right? This takes the value of 0 for the non-south and 1 for the south. If you double-click on this variable, it'll resort it. So now it's resorted it with the south on the top. And if you go to the top left corner and pull down Select by Attributes, you can select by any variable that is in the dataset. You could go through and individually select by hand, right? If I click on just one county there, you'll see it highlighted right here. It's rather small. I don't know if you can see it right there. It's in light blue. You could also select multiple counties, right? I could click on the left column over here and then just drag my mouse down and select multiple counties. If you look over here, you'll see that multiple counties have been selected on the map. But a more systematic way to do this, if we're interested in a particular variable, is to select by attribute. So let's go up to the top left again here, select by attribute. We want those counties. Let's first focus on the south. So there's the south variable. If you double click it, it'll appear down here in your command where south equals 1. If you hit apply here, you'll see that it just selected all of the counties where south equals 1. We can close this and we see that visualized here, right? All of the southern counties have been highlighted in light blue. If you now go over to the shapefile and right click on it, you can go to Data and Export Data, and you'll see that you have some options here. You can export the selected features or all features that are in the view, the view extent. If we wanted the full shapefile, we would do all features, but now that we've selected some features, we have this option of exporting only the selected features. So let's click that. How do we want to save this? I've done some playing around before, so I have this nat south here. I'm just going to replace this, call this nat south shp. So this will create a new shapefile with only the southern counties in it. So let's click Save. It already exists. I'm just going to tell it to replace it. Yes. OK. And it'll save. As we've seen in the past, we have this option of adding this new partition shapefile or partial shapefile over here on the left as a layer. I'm just going to say yes so we can see what that looks like. So yes, and now I'm gonna unselect the full national shapefile, and now you see this is our partial shapefile. This is just the southern counties. So we can now open this in Geoda, open this in R, and just do analyses in the southern counties of the US. Let's bring back the full national shapefile by selecting it again up here on the left. And now I'm going to drop the non-southern counties. And if you leave this selection, right, we still have the selected counties in light blue. You can go back to the national shapefile, go to the attribute table, up in the top left, and you can see you have several options here. You can either clear the selection or you can switch the selection. If we switch the selection, it'll take the variable that we had selected on, south 1, 0, and it's going to switch now to the zeros. I'm going to close this out, and you see what this looks like, right? So now we've switched the selection from the south to the non-south. Now we can go directly and save the non-south as its own shapefile. Again, by right-clicking on national, going down to data, export data, make sure that you've selected the selected features only option, and let's save this as non-south. Again, I've done some playing around before, so this file already exists. So let's just replace it, national non-south, save, replace, yes. Click my way through, add it to the map as a layer, yes. Now let's unclick the national shapefile over here, and to see what this looks like, and there are only the non-south counties of the United States. So that's one way you can select and delete features. Again, you could do this in myriad different ways. If you wanted to only extract a single state of state's worth of counties here, then you could do that. But this is a nice technique to have, to be able to partition a shapefile, select, delete some features, especially if you had maybe some isolates in a shapefile that were maybe creating some trouble and they weren't theoretically relevant, or they weren't going to be affecting the results too much. You know, you're not talking about an archipelago, but you're talking about maybe a full country and then one small island off the coast. You might be able to delete that one small island and just have a cleaner shapefile. We might have a shapefile with the entire continental United States plus Hawaii plus Alaska, and you could delete then Hawaii and Alaska and just have the continental counties of the United States as Baller et al. Have in their paper. So let's do this again now in Geoda. I'm just going to bring back the full shapefile here and delete the non-south one. And let's unselect everything just to clear this up. Clear selection. So there's our plain national shapefile. Now here in Geoda, if we open the same national shapefile, we can get our basic themeless map. If we set this aside here and open up our table, you can see something similar, right? We have all of our data. If you double click again on south, it'll resort them, so now you've got the ones appearing first. And if you right click on the table, you'll see a selection tool. So if you open that up, you can see that you can select by a variable. Let's pick the south, and you can see if you select all in the range 0 to 1, it'll pick everybody, right? So now it's picked everybody. But if you pick only the ones, now it's picked only the southern counties. So we've done exactly the same thing we just did in Arcmap, but we've now done it in Geoda. So now if we go to our main toolbar, we can export the selected geometries, right? The selected units. So let's do that. We're going to do Esri shapefile, Let's call that South 2 just to distinguish it, and save it. There it is. And then just as we did in Arcmap, we can go to Geoda and invert the selection. The switch selection command in Arcmap is the same as the invert selection in Geoda. Let's bring up the map just so we can see it when it happens. So here's our map, and if we hit invert selection, you see now we've gone from highlighting the southern counties to highlighting the northern counties. Once again, we can go back to our toolbar, File, Export Selected, export as a shapefile, and do the non-south 2. Different file name than the one we used for Arcmap. So now we've had success in creating 2 partial shapefiles in Geoda. Let's come back to excuse me. Let's come back to Arcmap. I'm just going to delete the full or remove the full shapefile that we had before, and let's just load the ones that we just created or exported from Geoda here to see if they're working correctly. So here's non-south 2. We don't have a PRJ component to our shapefile, so we get this warning about projection. But there it is. We created this in Geoda, and we've just loaded it into Arcmap. Now let's add the southern counties. We're looking for South 2. That's the one that we created in Geoda. Let's add that. And there they are. So non-south, south created separately in another software package, loaded into Arcmap, just to confirm that we did things correctly. And that's how you could select, delete, basically revise the structure of a shapefile by selecting and deleting different features. Again, you could do this in myriad different ways, whatever suits your research question. Thank you.